Good morning, Starbucks and Shorties. We're going to tell you the Shorty story. We're going to give you the whole breakdown of my last 13 years. I'm going to give everybody a breakdown of everything I've been doing. So those that don't know what this is all about, it's about the war on drugs and the root of the violence. See the root of the tree? See the light in the middle of the tree? Well, I'm shining the light on the problem. All right, I'm shining the light on the problem. I started this in 1986. If you look at State of Illinois versus Dwayne Davis in 1986, I turned in guns and drugs to the police at the police department. I showed the power of the guns, I showed the power of the drugs, and I showed the violence behind the war on drugs. You can't sit here and have a ceasefire if you don't want to end the war on drugs, or at least address the war on drugs. Because the root of the problem is the war on drugs. So we're going to shine the light on the war on drugs. You feel me? That's when I started this in 1986. I turned in guns and drugs to the police at the police station. I shot up my hometown for 45 minutes, like a mass shooting, but I shot it up as a form of protest. That was my Malcolm X moment. All right. And I went to court. I won my case on appeal. I was found innocent of all charges. I have the right to represent myself. Check it out. State Illinois versus Dwayne Davis. I'm a precedent-setting case. I sold drugs from 1974 to 1991. All right. I sold drugs because it was a necessity. It's how I made money. You don't give us jobs anymore. We don't have any economic stability in our communities. You closed the steel mills. You closed the factories. So we had to resort to the streets. And in the streets, you got to eat by any means necessary. Prostitution, loan sharking, gambling, selling drugs, robbery, burglary, whatever crime you got to commit to feed your family, to put food on the table. I chose selling drugs and prostitution. That's what I was good at. And I've been doing it since I was 12 years old. All right, I've been in the streets since I was 12 years old. I'm a high school dropout. I quit learning in the 6th grade. I quit taking educational tools in the 6th grade because I thought I knew everything. But I didn't stop learning. I learned from the streets, common sense, and got other ways of learning. All right. 1986, that's when I turned in guns and drugs. I served time in prison. I went back to jail in 1990 on a sting because y'all rounded up drug dealers. I was like, I can't be a part of that because y'all can do that at any moment. That's how you keep control over the black community, called plantation politics. The war on drugs is plantation politics, and you got overseers. All right. So I came to Baltimore straight out of the penitentiary. I came straight up to Baltimore in 1991, straight out of the penitentiary on the interstate compact. I worked for the Baltimore County schools. I did asbestos and lead removal. All right. I did asbestos and lead removal. And I worked on the streets in Baltimore, the piping underneath the streets. I blew the whistle on TMP engineering. I blew the whistle on TMP engineering because they was treating minorities real bad. They was treating blacks and minorities real bad and giving white people the money. So they used me on a project in Pittsburgh. I was the project manager. They needed a black face to be the project manager. So I blew the whistle on the project. They beat the government out of money. We went to court about it, and the government got their money back. You feel me? That's when you use black faces to get black contracts. I learned about that here in Baltimore. That's when I was valuable in Baltimore, when I did the asbestos and lead removal. I worked at Towson University. I worked at Washington, D.C. I worked at Quantico. I worked at Langley Air Force Base. I worked all over. I was a good paying job. But after 9/11 and when y'all started doing background checks, y'all started taking jobs away from ex-felons. I never committed no crimes in Baltimore. I never committed no crimes in Maryland. Real shit. I didn't commit no crimes. I've been a model citizen. I've been a mentor. You feel me? So that's from 1991 to 1996. I did asbestos and lead removal. Fern Shin took a picture of my asbestos supervisor's car when I put the toilet in front of the when I put the toilet in front of the school board in 2010, 2011, I put the toilet in front of the school board. That was representing the asbestos and the lead that was in the school and the money that y'all was spending frivolously and beating the school out of the money. I was telling y'all about the corruption in the schools in the 90s. I was telling you about the corruption in City Hall and Department of Public Works in the 90s. So when I opened up my store, I opened up a store on Falls Road called Shorty's Underground. Like Harriet Tubman, Underground Railroad, it was Shorty's Underground Rib Shack. It was on Falls and Joppa, Falls and Padonia, and Falls and Mount Carmel. 3 places. All right, no, 4 places, because I was on Green Spring when Stuart Weinstein, Green Spring Valley store, and they locked Stuart Weinstein up for gambling and offshore betting and shit. I was there when they did that to Stuart Weinstein. Scared the shit out of me. Thought they was coming after me for that 86 case. Because you see, they had up to 20 years to retry me for that case. So I've been looking over my shoulder for 20 years. When that statute of limitations ran out, that's when I started my Shorty program. In 2006, I started my Shorty program because the statute of limitations ran out on my case in Illinois. It wasn't about my son getting killed. I started the Shorty program in September of 2006, and I gave it to Governor O'Malley. I told Governor O'Malley about the Shorty program. It was about policing the police and politicians. But Governor O'Malley didn't know it was about him. So when they made the Stop Snitching video in 2006, I was making a video and a movie about the Stop Snitching video. I wanted to show the money behind the war on drugs, the car dealerships, the jewelry companies, the real estate companies, the bankers, the mortgage companies, and the politicians, lawyers, and judges that get paid off of locking up Black America. I'm a caterer. I've been in your houses. I work for David Irwin. I work for the judges, the lawyers, and the politicians that write the policies to lock you up. I work for Bobby Zirkin. So when I did all this catering, I put everything together in a booklet, and I told y'all what I was going to do in 2007. I videotaped it at my store on Falls Road. Rob Fix is a producer of a movie called Letters Design. Everything that Rob Fix has from Letters Design is evidence for a federal investigation. In 2007, I went home on vacation. I came back on probation. I went to file a $2.5 billion class action lawsuit on Lake County courts. Judge Boris, Judge Foreman, Judge Rossetti, Judge Bridges, Mayor Hyde, Mayor Sabanjan. It was about the war on drugs and incarcerating innocent Black people. I was showing cases like Benny Starks, Anton Logan. I was just showing you innocent people. And the Innocence Project was just cherry picking people. I had 250 inmates that should have their cases reversed and remand. That's what I came back to file that class action lawsuit for. Y'all locked me up for 186 days, held me without any charges, any evidence, made me plead guilty before you let me go. I pleaded guilty and I took back my guilty plea when I came back to Baltimore, like Dred Scott. Then I filed charges with Scott Shellenberger, Greg Bernstein, Doug Gansler, Governor O'Malley, and Rod Rosenstein, and the FBI, because I was fighting for my freedom from 2008 to 2011. When 2011 came through, I blew the whistle on Governor O'Malley. On February the 2nd, 2011, I blew the whistle on Governor O'Malley on the criminal activity here in Baltimore. So I had Illinois and Maryland, and I blew the whistle on both of y'all on February the 2nd, 2011. 5 days after I blew the whistle, Greg Bernstein contacted Scott Shellenberger, and y'all had me locked up because I was going to Las Vegas to bury my mother. I was going to Las Vegas to distribute this information. All right, I got all this on tape. I got it on MySpace, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I got it at ddshortman at AOL.com and ddshortman at gmail.com. I did this by myself as a social scientific experiment about race and racism. And I've been doing it at Starbucks for the last 10 years. 10 years, 5 days a week, at $2.30 a day. That's how much money I got vested in Starbucks. So Starbucks is going to have this event here. They're going to have a show here in a minute. Hold on, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to show it to you. So John Hopkins is having this thing here about in December, and I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to open mic night. Have an open mic night at Starbucks. So I'm gonna have open mic night at Starbucks, and I'm gonna tell my whole story. When I do open mic night, I'm gonna start showing my films. At open mic night at Starbucks, I'm gonna expose the corruption and the racism in America. Starbucks gotta reclaim their image. So I'm gonna be helping Starbucks, and Starbucks is gonna be helping me. Everything that I do, I'm gonna be doing here, like Doogie House, click, 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 every morning at Starbucks. And we're gonna put it all on film. Feel me? I don't got $1 million to get a movie made. I got $1 million idea. So I'm gonna do it at Starbucks and do it for free. The movie's gonna be done through social media for social change. Starbucks and Shorty. 2011, I got locked up. Feel me? 2011, I got locked up. I put a toilet in front of the Towson courthouse, and that toilet represented corruption and racism in Towson, Maryland, and Baltimore City. Baltimore City residents are scared to go to Towson or go across the county line because of the way that y'all threaten and incarcerate black people. That's the truth. So I was going to have a federal investigation on Baltimore County courts, the Officer Scott Shellenberger, and have your courts investigated. Judge Turnbull, Judge Janae, Judge Kavanaugh, Judge Papaya, Judge Sauter, Janae, Papaya, Judge Turnbull, and Judge Cox has all this information. If you go to Judge Cox right now, he has a writ of certiorari. Because if y'all don't let me access the court, I'm going to get a writ of certiorari, just like Dred Scott, and take this case to the Supreme Court. I get a bite at the apple 4 times. The 86 case, the time that you locked me up in 2007, the 2011 case, and the case that I got now. I get 4 bites at the apple at the Supreme Court. We're going to have Hassan Giordano testify, because Hassan Giordano was Frank Conway's prodigy, and he was privy to a whole lot of the conversations I was having, talking about the corruption and the racism. We're going to have Jason Rodriguez. We're going to have Christopher Irving, because Christopher Irving was there when I was in D.C. Christopher Irving was there when I was in Congressman Cummings' office on August the 13th. Congressman Cummings has a whistleblower's complaint. So the same way that y'all giving that whistleblower in Washington, D.C., we're going to give it to me too. A black whistleblower blowing the whistle on the Democratic Party in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm blowing the whistle on Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Lake County, Illinois. If you go to the Inspector General, Baltimore City office right now, today, I told John Rydell yesterday, I videotaped John Rydell. Fox 45 don't want to tell this story. WBAL don't want to tell this story. Jake Miller know about this. Dakari Turner know about this. Yeah, because the media plays a significant role in demonizing black people. So I put the media in this. It's called Portraits of a Letter. And I've been doing Portraits of a Letter, exposing the media since 2007. That storyboard that was stolen from my truck exposed the media's role that they play in this. And it named the media. Got the storyboards and their certified mail receipts. All right? Yeah, I'm very thorough in what I do. 2011, I was in jail for 86 days. I went to court. I won my trial. And the state of Maryland took my truck, my computer, and all my property and made me homeless. I've been homeless since 2011. I've been living in the streets, living in people's apartments, living on people's couches. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had a source of income because I can't get a job, because when you do a background check, terrorist comes up on my record. So I'm contacting President Trump, and I asked President Trump to address this. I'm a whistleblower on the Democratic Party. The same way that you're going after to impeach President Trump, I'm going after the Democratic Party, Gov.O'Malley's mom machine. That includes Congressman Brown that's sitting in the seat. That includes Congressman Cummings that just died. Sarbanes, Dutch Ruppersberger. If you had full knowledge and evidence of this criminal activity by the Democratic Party, it was your job to turn this in. You got a whistleblower in there for Trump. Well, I'm a whistleblower against the Democratic Party. Governor O'Malley, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake, Mayor Pugh. Like I said, go to the Attorney General, the Inspector General office in Baltimore City. I gave it to him yesterday. John Rydell knows about it. Jeff Abel from Fox 45 know about it. Stephen Janis from The Real News know about it. The Real News knows about this. So when y'all have y'all's debates and y'all have y'all's public meetings, I'm going to be saying what I got to say. Call the police, lock me up, charge me with something. When you lock me up, we go to court. We go to court, we take the cell phone to court. Everything that's on my Gmail account, everything that's on my AOL account, everything that's in the cloud, everything that's in the ether is going to be put in front of that grand jury. You feel me? We're going to settle this where we started this in a court of law. When I went to court on September the 13th, 2011, I wore my hoodie to court. I fired my lawyer and represented myself. Look at my court transcripts. I fired my lawyer and represented myself, and you forced the lawyer on me. My lawyer refused to tell the courts that I was making a movie. My lawyer refused to subpoena my truck and my computer and the evidence that they said they had. If that lawyer would have did that then, they would have dismissed the charges and criminally charged Scott Shellenberger then. Scott Shellenberger took my truck, my computer, and destroyed the evidence before I even had a fucking trial. Before I had a trial, Shellenberger destroyed the evidence. Before I had a trial, it took everything. It's on record, and nobody's held accountable for that. So from 2011 to 2019, I've been fighting for my freedom. It's a journey for justice. We got Tawanda Jones, the Uprising, PFK Boom, everything that I've been doing since then, C.D. Witherspoon, all the activists I've been doing, I've been documenting. It's all documented. So I'm gonna turn it over to whoever wanna get it. Because like I said, I'm homeless. This is Baltimore Rewired, from the streets to the seats. It's a true story all about Baltimore. It's no fictional characters. When I say Congressman Cummings, I can say Congressman Cummings. When I say Sarbanes, when I say Congressman Costello, when I say TJ Smith, they can't deny nothing I say about them. Nothing. The truth according to Shorty. And I'll put my hand on the Bible and swear to God. I put my hand on the Bible and swear to God. The question is, will you? I'm going to dismantle the Democratic Party. So every event that y'all have, when y'all having y'all's forums and y'all whatever, I'm going to walk in the room. I'm going to mic check the room and I'm going to call you out. Tony Bridges used to work for Governor O'Malley's community liaison. Tony Bridges know all about this. Mary Washington said she'd give me access to the grand jury. I ain't got it yet. Corey McCrae said I get access to the grand jury. I ain't got it yet. I got y'all on film when y'all said this. I got GOP Carter that wrote Senate Bill 374 to deny us our rights to access the grand jury. GOP Carter was there when I came in 2008 and scared the bejeebies out of y'all. Ask Karen York and Nicole Mundo, because that's when I first met y'all. Christopher Williams. I don't roll with no crew or no posse because I didn't go to jail by myself. I'm not going to leave this earth. I'm going to come by myself. You feel me? But I'm fighting for the prisoners and the inmates. You got 135 inmates that got their rights were denied due process and equal protections while I was locked up. And I gave that information to the ACLU, Miss Leon from the ACLU. The ACLU didn't do anything for those inmates that were locked up. I can't do nothing for the inmates. I can just fight for myself. But the ACLU and the NAACP had full knowledge of this. Now you got the ACLU hailing this person and this person, and they making money off of those people instead of doing their jobs. The NAACP as well. Now you can talk to Stephon Walker, Anthony McCarthy. You can talk to Mr. Elliott and Sharon Sneed. Told y'all all about the war on drugs. You cannot have a ceasefire unless you talk about the war on drugs. The root of the violence in Baltimore is about the war on drugs. If you ended the war on drugs and spent the money that you spent on incarceration to rebuild in the community, to give them jobs and resources in the community, we wouldn't have to sell drugs. If I got a coffee cup full of cocaine for free, who am I going to sell it for? Who am I going to sell it to? The reason you got drug cartels is because of America's thirst for drugs. It's called law of supply and demand. They wouldn't supply the drugs if we didn't ask for them. I was in the military in 1980, 1977, 78, 79 during Iran conflict. My ship, the USS Mississippi, transported cocaine and marijuana. Don't ask, don't tell, ain't just for days in the military. You can check my DD-214. The state of Maryland took I had a log book from when I was in the military. I had a log book, and y'all took that log book because that was my 401k. I was making this movie, this documentary. It was going to show latitude and longitude to change your attitude. That was the name of the movie, Latitude and Longitude. Don't snap your fingers at me, okay? Just get my attention. All right, well, then talk to me in a better way, all right? I ain't got a problem with it, all right? But the way you talk, all right, thank you. I'll say what I want to say. What everybody else in this place talking, ain't nobody telling nobody else not to talk. I'm going to do Starbucks. You feel me? I'm going to do Starbucks. That was... You like just try to talk to you? Yeah. Yeah, he was... Everybody in Starbucks is talking. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, and I said excuse me when I bumped her. You know what I'm saying? I told you when I came over here I was going to do this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're going to work on relationships in Starbucks. They've been sitting here watching what I've been doing since I've been here. I asked their permission to do this. Did I not? I asked y'all's permission, right? So I'm not rude. Don't snap your fingers at me. Don't do that. I'll be very disrespectful in a minute. But like I said, race and racism, Starbucks and Shorties, we're going to do it here. We're at Johns Hopkins University, and I done led a lot of marches around here. Y'all know me around here. Trust and believe me, this ain't over. See you.